You've got a message. You've got a message. A message.
This video might offend people who are not into that race topic, but I know it sounds kind of worn out, and I mean we're 20 something years like into democracy. Why are we still talking about the race issue, right? You know what? I personally think it's a topic worth still talking about because what I learned quite a while ago was that the system was designed for people with more melanin in the skin
people
to
into
fail.
races so that some of us can see ourselves as
Here's how I
superior to
figured
the others.
the system was meant for us to fail. While growing up in a country where that just came out of apartheid some 20 odd years ago, most black kids in the hood, cougars, for my black brothers that understand that kind of lingo, English by teachers who can hardly speak a language.
I'm an educator, and it is my business as an educator to lead people out of ignorance. The ignorance of thinking that you're better or worse than someone else because of the amount of a pigment in your skin. Pigmentation in your skin has nothing to do with intelligence or with your worth as a human being. It's time to
while on the topic of teachers, like, did you know, yeah, like for y'all who grew up after 94, did you know that the reason you don't have so many white teachers in the hood is because, well, white teachers used to get paid a tolerance check to tolerate your monkey black ass if they're gonna teach a school that's predominantly black students. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's why we don't have that many black teachers. I mean white teachers. And consequently, you get taught by people who's now trying to speak a third language, because they would, your teacher would either be Venda or Zulu or Xhosa or something before they learn those languages before they learn uh, English, right? So it's kind of hard for them. The system failed them too. I'm not trying to blame the teachers or anything. I'm just saying the system failed them too. So yeah, the consequence of that happening is that you get to varsity if you're lucky, enough, without knowing the language properly. So it's kind of hard for you to kind of to 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 get the grasp of things, of how things are done in varsity. So yeah, that's if you're lucky enough to actually get to varsity. You know what I mean?
There is no gene for racism. There's no gene for bigotry. You're not born a bigot. You have to learn to be a bigot. Anything you learn, you can unlearn. It's time to unlearn our bigotry. It's time to get over this thing, and we best get over it pretty soon.
And now, if you're lucky to be born in a family with means and perhaps go to private school, what happens to you is they teach you as a kid that you were born with the wrong skin color, like getting the black students seated at one place in the bus and white kids seated at another. How that works, I do not know. I don't know much about private school, so I'll skip that part and get back to the you getting the varsity part of thing, right? Like, for example, getting to UP. What happens to you as a black person? The system is designed to make you fail, because this is what happens when you get to varsity. When you allocated races and you assigned rooms. When you assigned rooms, you told, like, you assigned a room, like, to share as a first year. You assigned a room in which you share with another black person from a different culture, whose culture you probably don't even understand. How that's different from you sharing a room with a white person whose culture you don't understand, I don't know. I mean, that's just how the system is, right? It's designed to make you feel like you're not supposed to learn how those people from different races do the how they how they do their things. Like you're not supposed to interact that personally with.
We hate because we're taught to hate. We hate because we're ignorant. We're the product of ignorant people who have been taught an ignorant thing, which is that there are 4 or 5 different races. There are not 4 or 5 different races. There's only one race on the face of the earth, and we're all members of that race, the human race. Separated people into races so that some of us can see ourselves as superior to the others.
At certain races, like once you get out of first year, you go into second year, you get assigned single rooms. And what happens is they give black students races that are on top, like on the last floor. That's where you get a whole lot of black people. And then the rest of the the corridors that are in the floors right next to the base, like next to the dining hall, that's for predominantly white students. Like I think that's kind of lovely because you get to for once in our lives we get to live on top of on top of let's say you're brave enough to stand against the system and say, yo, I don't want a room, like I want to be in a room in a corridor that I prefer. Like I want to be assigned a room that's in a corridor that I prefer. Because what you might have, like we might even back your story by, yo, I got good marks in my first year, I even beat that kid. Why is that kid getting more preference? Like why is that kid getting a better room than mine? Like aren't we all paying the same kind of tuition? They will kindly isolate you and make your life a living hell. You will get the room. You will get your room, but your life will be living hell. That is not like from hearsay type of thing. That's from personal experience. That's and what uh how kindly and living hell I came together with those words. I don't know, but that's what happens. I'm trying to make it as humane as possible, but yeah, at the end of the day, what also ends up happening is that you drop out. Not no, actually, you get kicked out. You get kicked out of university because you will be your marks won't be as good since your life was made to live in hell, and most of us can't perform under that kind of pressure. Now, think about it. Like, so what happens when you're now outside of the system? When you're inside the system, you don't see it happening. You see it, but you kind of oblivious to it. Like you just, you, like the way black people are raised is we so used to racism that when it happens, we tend to turn a blind eye because once you say it, they're gonna say you put in the race card, right? But yeah, but when you're outside, you have no choice but to like face facts on some. What I noticed was what I personally noticed was in South Africa, most universities with good infrastructure have a 60-40 rule, meaning 60% white people and 40% the rest of the people. That's not for that's 40% not black people, not colored people, not Indian people, not South Africans. The rest of the people, that's like everybody, the whole jigalele. If you're from Africa, if you're black, you're gonna be counted as part of that 40%. How I don't get how that is still allowed in South Africa that we live in, because why would the majority be allocated smaller spaces? Can you not see that the system is trying to not get black people and the Indian people and well people with a lot of melanin on the skin into varsity? Like they're trying to get as few of them in, and those who will go with the system stay in. Those who stand against it, well, you know what happens to you. You go to jail or you fail or whatever. Well, you just don't get that. I've personally had the pleasure of being in the company of all official races and cultures in South Africa, and what I found out was that more black people are more likely to get arrested than white people. That's the thing. Black people, and the kind of black people I was chilling with were doing the same kind of shit that white people were doing that I was with. And I got away with a whole lot of other crap when I was with my white friends than I was with my black friends. That's and that's the truth of the matter. And sometimes when we were drunk, we would let the white guy drive the car because we knew the cops were not gonna arrest him like just like that, just because. And you know who's arresting black people? It's black cops. How fucked up is that? Like the system fucked us so hard. It got us hating the sight of skin that has as much melanin as our own. That's the reality of shit. Like if you're born in South Africa and you're not racist, even as a you're not prejudiced, even as a black person, then you are a miracle.
It must not continue for the next 40. Parents need to look at the kinds of things they're saying around their children. Fathers need to listen to themselves and the words they use around their children. They need to watch the kinds of television shows that they let their children watch. They need to look at the things that are going on in the classroom. They need to look at things like the Mercator map, which is absolutely it's a racist map. We need to take a look at that. We need to change just that one thing. If teachers would just look at the legend at the bottom of that map where it says South America is actually 9 times larger than Greenland, it would blow their minds to realize that they have been miseducating children for at least 400 years in this country. It's time to put a stop to it. Education means to lead people out of ignorance. That is not what education is doing in this country when we still celebrate Columbus Day as though he discovered America. You can't discover a place where people are already living. They discovered it before you got there. The kinds of things that we're teaching in the schools are absolutely insane. We need to put a stop to it. We need to start watching our language.
I hear politicians across the country saying, I'm not changing a textbook based on what Jane Elliott says. Are you saying then that politicians are part of the problem in the United States?
Have you been watching politics in the last 3 months? Of course they are. You can't say the kinds of things that Donald Trump said this week without just exploding internally.
I've never seen anybody who's not prejudiced who's South African. We grew up in a society that's, well, fucked up to say the least. Yeah. And what's happening is that racist people aren't saying kafir in public anymore. They control your paycheck. They own banks. They donate money to black parties, black political parties, that is. See, the greatest trick the devil has ever made is making people believe that he doesn't exist. Think about it.